Chief! Chief, Polly sent me to find you to tell you that there's a bunch of Boy Scouts out in April Bay doing their mile swim for their merit badges. I couldn't call them in, there's no phones out there.
Okay, come on, get out of there. Take this stuff back to the office and get to work on those signs.
All right.
Beach is closed, no swimming, by order of the Amity PD. And let Polly do the printing.
What's the matter with my printer?
Let Polly do the printing.
Hey, Chief! Chief Brody! What do you got there? Listen, we had a shark attack at South Beach this morning, man. Fatal! I better batten down the beach.
JAWGUST. JAWGUST is back once again. Jaws is 50, so I thought, my friends, for you to come with me as I go back to Amity. A 31-day podcast, talking 4 minutes of Jaws each day. It will be another month-long show for me, and I hope to see you there, 'cause JAWGUST is back again. Happy Sunday, everybody. Woo! It's Sunday, August 3rd, 2025, which means today we talk about minutes 8 to 12 of Jaws, in which there are no deaths unless you count the death of Deputy Hendrick's self-respect when it comes to his penmanship. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time you heard from me was Saturday morning. So it feels like forever since I've talked about Jaws with you, because right now it's Sunday night. It's about as far away as 2 episodes can be on a daily podcast, where I recorded one at like 7 a.m. And this one, it is well past 10 p.m. Okay, it's 12 minutes past, but that's well past 10 p.m., which means it is rather late, but still legally within the bounds of JAWGUST rules for a daily show. As long as I get this show up to you by 11:59 p.m., that counts. So, and you can check all the bylaws, all the rules, they're all available at jawgustbylaws.net/tripod.com. You can find them all there, believe me. But I'm not going to waste any more time. When I talked to Eric the other day, he's like, how long do you like to talk? I say, usually about 20 minutes. I try to make the episodes at least 20 minutes. I feel like that is long enough for a show. And sometimes I stretch it. And sometimes it really, it's not as much talking as you think, because I have the clips, I have the theme songs. By the way, if you're an original listener of JAWGUST, going back 5 years, that theme, not the Golden Girls one, of course, because that's for Golden JAWGUST. That makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know. But that JAWGUST, that is the original JAWGUST theme that I did way back in 2020. I did have a second musical theme song that accompanied the show, which, do you remember that one?
JAWGUST, it is JAWGUST, where I will be watching Jaws each day. Podcast, got a podcast, but I'm not quite sure what I will say. The choice of this time I give you pause, 'cause it has nothing to do with Jaws. JAWGUST, it is JAWGUST, where every day I will watch Jaws and talk about Jaws. It helps if you like Jaws.
I mean, who could forget that? And of course, that wouldn't fit because in that jingle, jingle theme, whatever you want to call it, I said I will be watching Jaws each day, which I did in the original JAWGUST. But of course, this time around, we're just watching Jaws once through the entire month at 4 minutes at a time. And I said to Eric, yeah, I'd like to do about 20 minutes. And then the first episode was like over 40 minutes. The second episode was over 30 minutes. And I was like, geez, am I setting a precedent that all these episodes are going to be a half hour, 40 minutes? And I'm going to say no. But at the same time, I've already gone over 6 minutes and I haven't talked about this segment of Jaws at all. So you never know. I mean, I could talk today about how I didn't record it early because I slept like later in the morning. My dog woke me up before 5, but then I fell asleep till past 8, which is crazy. It might as well be the middle of the day. Then my wife, I think I was out with the dog, and my wife texted me and said, do you want to go blueberry picking today? And I said, is that a trick question? Then I said, haha, I'm just kidding. Was I just kidding? I don't know. But I said, yeah, sure. That sounds like a good husband thing to do. She said, cool. I'm going to call my mother. And I'm like, okay. Yep, let's go. Yep. Yeah. And we did. And we had a pretty good time. And to be honest with you, I bought a scratch ticket for $1. I won $20, and that paid for the blueberry picking. I don't even like blueberries all that much. Give me a blueberry in a pancake. Give me a blueberry in a muffin. Give me a blueberry in a waffle. Basically, give me a blueberry in some sort of baked goods. My mother-in-law actually makes this thing called blueberry buckle, which I never heard of before she started making it, which is almost like a cake, a coffee cake type thing. It is delightful. But if you just say, here's a blueberry, eat it. I'm like, no. I did have some around the blueberry bush today. And I said, like, you have to taste them. They're good. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, that's pretty good. And my mother-in-law's like, get a sweet one. Make sure they're sweet. I'm like, how the hell I can't tell. This one's sweet. This one's sour. I don't know the difference. They taste like blueberries, I guess. So that was my day for the most part. Then I got dinner. Then I wanted to read on the deck a little bit and relax. And middle of the day, I'm like, I usually don't podcast in the middle of the day. I usually do it early in the morning or late at night. And then, look, okay, I'm also going to tell you right off the bat, it was SummerSlam weekend. So that's one of the reasons I did it really early yesterday. There were 2 nights of wrestling. That's who I am, okay? If you don't know what you're listening to at this point, that's on you. But it didn't stop me because I'm here right now talking about Jaws. Look at that, almost 9 minutes. See? That's how you get these episodes long enough that they feel like a podcast, even though I'm not just talking about Jaws, even though I should be just talking about Jaws. So let's friggin' focus on these 4 minutes. It picks up. We're still on the beach, and there's just small talk between Brody and Cassidy, Tom Cassidy. They're just having a little small talk until they hear a whistle, and they rush towards it. I say they rush towards it, but if you watch it, they're kind of slowly, jauntily jogging towards it. And we see for the first time, we see one of the police deputies. We know him as Hendrick, the actor Jeffrey Kramer. He slumps down with this look of horror on his face. He puts his hands, he puts his hand in his mouth, and not like in a sexually provocative way like Lenny did to when he saw Laverne or Shirley or some groovy chick walk by. He has it like he's biting his hand like, oh, egad, what have I done? Or what have I just seen? And Brody and Cassidy walk up, and the way Hendricks just kind of looks over his shoulder like he's defeated. He picks up the sand and he just plays with it. He's like, oh, golly gee. You can see Brody holding back that Cassidy guy. And he walks over, Brody, and what do we see? We see a lump of grotesqueness. We see a hand with some fingers, but they have rings on the fingers. I assume that lump is a mix of hair and seaweed and guts, but I don't really know. Lots of crabs, so many crabs that one crab felt like he was like missing out, so he leaps in because I don't even know where this crab comes from. But like right away, the first thing you see is a crab fall from the sky. And I'm pretty sure I saw that for the first time or noticed that for the first time from Eric, that just a crab falls from the sky. Now, maybe, I'm trying to think what, my only guess is they're filming it and they were like, we need another crab. And the crab handler, I don't think that this was ethically done. He just threw one more crab. He's like, wait, we have one more. And he throws them into the scene. And that's where we see this little guy just fall in there. We see legs walk in and you see Brody just looking down in shock. Like, are you kidding me? Things are supposed to be quiet here. This is not the type of thing that we worry about at Amity. Remember, in this town, be careful. Ellen says that. He's like, in this town, and now he's holding this missing, what was a missing girl's clothing and purse, and now we realize she's not missing. She's been found. Part of her has been found. The undigestible parts or the untasty parts. But Brody looks down and then he looks off into the ocean and he looks at the ocean like, you did this to her, damn you, ocean. So we go right down to the police station where we see Cassidy for the last time. He's got this look of shock on his face like, man, I was finally going to get a girlfriend this summer and now she's been eaten. Damn it. Actually, he has this look on his face like he's in actual shock. I don't know if he's drinking Alka-Seltzer or it's a cloudy beverage, and I think Hendricks is drinking the last thing and he's gulping it down in the background as Polly walks in. Now we don't know her name is Polly yet, but she walks into the office and she says, a chief in? And Hendricks is like, yep, she's in there. So when she walks in on Brody is typing away. And he's like, Polly, we need to get this new filing system. You need to clear off my desk. So obviously he's been there long enough that he has a rapport with Polly that he can treat her like shit and she doesn't care. So the one thing she mentions that you always think of as just a cute little thing where she's like, someone called about complaining about the karate school has been karateing the picket fences. And it seems like a funny little joke, but I'm going to delve deeper into that right now where I'm going to say that actually is a wonderfully placed line at the beginning of this because that is the type of thing that Polly and the Amity police usually deal with, okay? Not mafia stuff that you see in this book. In the movie, this town is so quaint. Remember, in this town, what the type of stuff they deal with, Polly's like, they've been karateing the picket fences. Now, normally, the chief of police would be like, I'll get right on it. He gets his guns out, and he goes and scares the shit out of that karate school. But not today. Today, he's like, he's worrying about typing, and he's not worrying about spelling, and I'll tell you about that in a few seconds. But that line of, just the karate school is like, that's the type of calls they normally get. They probably get a generally like a drunk guy who's, acting up at some restaurant and, kids that are being punks and kids that are karateing things. That's it. Not dead girl, okay, Polly, yeah, great. I can't worry about the karateing picket fences right now. That missing girl? Yeah, we brought her back. We found her. We brought her back she's at the coroner's office. Yeah, we brought her back in a tub of Tupperware. That's where she is right now. So can I please focus on that instead of the freaking karate school? Now, it's at this point that Polly, the police chief's office, gets a phone call. And Polly answers it. And this is why the chief keeps Polly around. She is so good at her job that she answers this phone, knows who it is, and hands it to the chief all in one, like without even taking a breath. In fact, she's so quick, there is no chance that the person on the other line said, Polly, hi, it's Jim from the medical examiner's office. Can I talk to Chief Brody? I have to tell him something. Listen to how quickly she says Chief Brody's office and hands him the phone.
Chief Brody's office, the medical inspector.
There's no humanly possible way that she was able to answer that so quickly. I'm going to try to do it right now. I'm going to pretend that I'm the medical examiner's office and let me try to let Polly know who I am.
Chief Brody's office.
Hi, Polly.
The medical inspector.
See, it's impossible. Now, let's say I know that she answers fast, and so I'm ready for it. This is how quick I'd have to go. Let's try this.
Chief Brody's office.
Hi, Polly. It's the medical inspector.
Medical inspector.
Oh, my God. So, that is quick. That is impossible, but she's good. Polly is just that damn good. So she hands Brody the phone. He listens on the other end, and he types in what he gets from the medical examiner's office. Now, he's filling out this report. This says, date, time, deceased, discovered. Listen to this. The date and time the deceased was discovered. That's on the first line at the top of this. It says 7/1/74. So this is July 1st, 1974. Now, you could see it's kind of cut off, but it actually says date. If you were pausing it, you definitely know it says date, time, deceased, discovered. 7/1/74 at 11:50 p.m. So you're telling me that the deceased was discovered at 10 minutes to midnight, and no one did anything about it until Hendricks found the body? What are we talking about here? Was that when she was called? Maybe that's when she was said she was missing. 11:50, we haven't found her. He woke up. I don't know, but that's one mistake right there. Whoever typed this report up, this will not fly in a court of law. Now it says date, time next to it. It says date, time, something in the name. It just says student. So nobody filled this out properly. Under it, it says removed to, in quotations, address. Okay, I guess that means where was she brought to? You don't have to say the full address. If it's a small town, you could just say what it is, the coroner's office, except it's spelled C-O-R-N-E-R-S. Coroner, the coroner's office. So coroner is spelled C-O-R-O-N-E-R. There's an O missing. Okay, so not only do you have the time wrong, you have now it says 74. Obviously, this was filmed in 74, so that's fine. But the time is wrong. The location where it was moved to is spelled wrong, and technically at this time or at a certain point, the probable cause of death is listed as wrong, because right now what he types for the first time, you see shark attack, which is awesome. The way that's written on the typewriter is just well done. Now, here's another thing. Corner, it says over next to coroner's office, you see C-corner spelled wrong again. Somebody doesn't know how to spell coroner in the props department, because there's no way Roy Scheider is typing this out. So somebody literally set up the camera and typed on the typewriter, and nobody noticed anything. It fills up the entire friggin' screen, and there are 2 spelling errors, 1 time error, and again, 1 line that doesn't even make any sense. So lots of mistakes on here. If I was this woman's parent, never mind the mom we learn about later, never mind Alex's kid, the Watkins family, we never hear from them at all. And I'd be pissed. I'd be like, what is this? You found her at 11 feet? Oh, that was a mistake. Well, how many other mistakes have you made? I heard that a little boy was swallowed the other day. You guys are just making tons of mistakes. Again, that's why none of this makes sense to the fact that Mayor Vaughn is the mayor in Jaws 2. Mayor Vaughn should have resigned in disgrace, if not been impeached, just from these mistakes alone that he lets happen under his watch, because all he cares about is the summer dollars and his goddamn realty company. So Brody tells Polly, I want a list of all the water activities that are going to be happening today. And then he says to Hendrick, where are the beaches closed signs? And Hendrick's like, we never had any before. That just shows that this town has never had to deal with anything like this. And again, it's such small town stuff that this dude shows up and complains that there's a truck with the New Hampshire plates parked in front of his store. He's upset about that. And I mean, look at this. This town is so beautiful. Martha's Vineyard with these white picket fences. This is another thing I love about a movie or the director or whatever it is, the style of this movie, where the point of this scene is for Brody to get to a store to get signs to make beaches closed signs. And so much is happening around him. We see first the medical examiner's office. Well, we don't know that's who that is at first, but we realize something must have happened. Funeral home. We see the sign that says funeral home. He walks by that and someone walks out of that building. Then we see the Amity Gazette from the newspaper guy. Someone walks out of that building and looks over. And then he walks down. This is when we see Bad Hat Harry for the first time. And he's complaining about the karate kids and they did something to his bicycle. We see a sign for the first time, Vaughn's Realty. Again, the fact that the mayor, someone in politics is also in real estate, I don't know. That just doesn't jive with me. Anyway, Vaughn, and it seems like a conflict of interest. We see a sign. This is what I love. All this stuff going on in the background is like a slice of life in the day of Amity. None of it is real. It's all for this moment of Jaws, but it all just looks like people living their life way off in the background. Amity 50th annual regatta, which again never really comes up. Amity Island 4th of July celebration, and then this conversation that these guys are having in the hardware store when Brody goes in to pick up signs for the beaches closed signs.
This stuff isn't going to help me in August. The summer kinks come down here in June. You haven't got one thing on here I ordered. Not a beach umbrella, not a sun lounger, no beach balls. If I can't get service...
I love that because it is, again, no idea. Like, these guys are just arguing about summer stuff. This is the stuff they're worrying about, the people coming down in August, the summer ginks. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. I was looking, what the hell is a summer gink? Well, let me tell you something. I found something. I found an article from a paper called the Harvard Crimson, which, if you don't know, the Harvard Crimson is the student newspaper at Harvard University. It was founded in 1873. And this, I might put a link to this. Yeah, I'm going to put a link to this in the show notes. The title of this article is No Man is a Vineyard, written by Tom Lee, which I don't think is the drummer from Motley Crue. This article is from September 18th, 1974. Okay? Way before Jaws even came out. If I type the word Jaws in this article, it doesn't come out. Shark, movie, nothing. But way down it says, the article starts, Martha's Vineyard is above all an island. And to the 8,000 small town folk who live there year round, it is the island. Blah, 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 blah. You go down, if you want to see for yourself, the Chappaquiddick Bridge still stands, though splintered by souvenir hunters. And if society is your society, there's a staid yacht club host to 51 regattas so far and an appropriate number of regatta balls. Of all the famous, the tourists who want to know where Senator Kennedy was real. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is about like the Kennedy and Chappaquiddick. Okay, doesn't matter. The next paragraph says, the Islanders do their best to pretend the summer ginks do not exist. Summer ginks is put in quote. So it says, the Islanders do their best to pretend the summer ginks do not exist, or that they are at least only peripheral to the real vineyard life. So that must be some term that they call the, like Florida, they talk about the snowbirds. assume it just means the people who come to town who don't actually belong there. They're not islanders. If you're not born on the island, you're not an islander. We find that later. Obviously, this is talking about Martha's Vineyard. In this world, this is Amity. These people are locals. So this guy just talks like a vineyard local talks. And that's why we have the term summer gink in there. I've never seen this before. And I will definitely put a link to this in the show notes. I also love that when Brody is getting the tools to make the beach signs, he knocks over all the stuff. Like Roy Scheider knocks over everything, and it seems genuine, like that wasn't part of the plan, but it works because it's like this guy's in such a rush that this is something that would happen. And he goes, ooh, ooh, and we cut away. He comes out with all these things, these stakes and these signs to make signs that hang up at the on the beach. This is when Hendricks come over and tells him the scouts are trying to get their merit badge. He goes, no, beaches are closed by order of the Amity police. And I love, let Polly do the printing. Let Polly do the printing. That is a classic line for this movie. And that is why that is today's episode title, Let Polly Do the Printing. He gets Hendricks out of the car to head back to the police station. He takes the car and heads off. But as he does, we see someone come out of the office. I don't know if it says mayor office there or if it says Vaughn Rentals. But we see someone come out of the office in the most wonderful suit with anchors on it. It says Chief Brody, and Brody drives off. And that's when we figure out who he is. And Hendricks says, Mayor, we've got a shark attack. Fatal. He's got a batten down the beach. Luckily, those kids they walked right through like a practice of a parade, and these kids are playing their music so loud that none of the kids hear it and freak out. You'd think maybe one of them, like, what did that police officer just said? But they were too busy. So he tells the mayor that now the mayor knows what's going on. And we cut over to where the scouts are doing, like literally, I got a merit badge for doing some sort of swimming. And guess what? I went to school, grammar school, with like the guy whose dad was the scout leader. So we just went to his house, swam in their pool. That was it. No bringing us in the ocean, getting in a rowboat and yelling at us. The guy's rowing the boat. He's like, come on, you goofs, keep it up. And Brody's going over to tell them, get out of the water. So he throws down his smoky, gets on this Amity boat. Meanwhile, these guys, they're not that far off the shore, to be honest with you, because you see a little bit of an island and people are standing there. So they're probably not that deep of water. They're deep enough water for a shark to eat them whole. Thankfully, that doesn't seem to happen here. And as Brody gets on the ship, he wants to go over to, tell those guys, get out of the water. A car pulls up, a beautifully brownish, burnt orange Cadillac pulls up, and the door opens, and on the door you see Vaughn's Realty. And out steps the same guy, the same mayor that we saw trying to get Brody's attention earlier. License plate of this car, N520. And it looks like, it almost looks like a Massachusetts plate. Amity's supposed to be in New Jersey, right? Martha's Vineyard, of course, is part of Massachusetts. But I don't think Mass had those red and blue plates. I feel like we used to have, back then we had green and white plates. At least we did when I was a kid. And that's it. He gets out of the car. We don't know what he has to say, but he's just getting out of the car. The car seems to be full with a few people. So it seemed like, actually, we don't know who it is yet. So there's someone else in the car. We're not sure who it is yet, but we do know that it's the mayor's car. And we know this because he put his own advertising for his own realty company, real estate company on the side. And yet he's the mayor. He's going to have someone else drive it. So he's not even driving it himself. He gets out of the car. That's where this minute ends. Nobody's dead. Right now, the coroner office says that body was found 11:50 p.m. And, there's a dude who's upset about the summer ginks and another dude who's upset because Brody insulted his penmanship. Brody hasn't been there that long. This is his first summer, but he still knows because they bought I guess he's been there since the fall. They bought the house in the fall. They've been there since the fall. That's my guess. He's been there long enough to know that Hendricks, writing sucks. But that's really it. I think I've discussed everything I wanted to discuss today. Again, this town is not prepared for something like this. Wonder what the mayor has to say to Brody, how Brody seems to be dealing with it. Seems to be, the chief is doing the smart thing. Let's just close the beach for a couple days, see how things go. Maybe this fish will just swim away. All we have to do is just give it a little time and not give it any food. Can we do that? Can we do that? I'm the chief of police. I should be able to do whatever I want. But can I? Well, we'll find that out tomorrow, August 4th. But until then, you can follow me on all the socials at Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans.Experts. And did you know that you could leave comments on every episode on Spotify? If you listen on Spotify, there's a place where you can leave comments. And in fact, I got a comment the other day from a user named Amber Brown Dog, from a listener named Amber Brown Dog, that says, Mikey delivers a gift to all his listeners with the return of JAWGUST. The anticipation and suspense in the iconic Jaws score by John Williams is only topped by the clicking of the typewriter in a letter from Mikey to his mother. Somehow Mikey provides a fresh take on an old classic. That made my day. The fact that somebody enjoys the stupid skit that I do of letters to mother, and I have to be honest with you, Jay, a frequent guest of the show, told me that his wife likes the letters to mother. So I always make sure to at least put one at the beginning and one at the end, and try to make them as ridiculous as possible. Because, and I did that originally with JAWGUST, like way back in the original. They were almost supposed to be like, because I'm on the sea and I'm writing letters from the sea. And they just got more ridiculous as time went on. And I realized I'm just going to make my mother seem like she just hates me, which I don't think is true. I don't think she listens. I think that part's true, but I don't think she hates me. I really should ask her next time I watch Jeopardy with her. Anyway, Amber Brown Dog, that comment was so nice. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you, fellow listener, could do the same if you're listening on Spotify. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review there as well. Like, like you do either 5 stars, or I think 5 stars, or like, is it 5 stars in Spanish, or 5 stars? Anything you want to do. Just try to leave it between 5 and 5 stars. I would appreciate that very, very much. But if you don't, as long as you're listening, that's all. If you're listening on Spotify, you're listening on Apple, if you're listening on Pocket Cast, some other app, if you're listening through YouTube, I don't care. As long as you find it and you're listening to it, I appreciate it. I was texting with Chris earlier, and he's like, oh God, I got to get on a few episodes between him and Eric, and I need to contact Jay too. I hope to have my usual gang of guests joining me throughout the month of August, and because we still have a long way to go. 31 days in total. We still have 28 days left to go. I almost said 29, and that would have been just rather foolish of me. So we still have 28 days to go. So I hope to see you each and every day, because I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you'll be back tomorrow too. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing, and I had to burp. Okay, now, and here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans Not Experts.